There's really no other way to get into spooky season than talking about spooky books. Hey guys, welcome back or welcome to my channel. It's been a hot minute, but today we are going to be tier ranking every single horror book I have read in the last couple years. Now, it's not a really extensive list because I don't always read the fastest or I don't always read the most, but I do have a little over 50 books today that we're going to be tier ranking, and I've never done this. I don't know how this is gonna go. You guys are getting live reactions. Some of these books I probably don't even remember reading, but I went on my little Goodreads and I made sure I got every single book that I have read that is a horror book in the last 5-ish years. There was like 1 year I didn't read any horror, which is crazy, but I'm not including this year because that's gonna be like a little surprise thing at the end of the year. So I kind of came up with these cute little tier names. I didn't just want to do the basic, you know, so they are spooky vibes, and these are not necessarily based off of how scary I thought the book was. It's just how much I enjoyed it, how good I thought it was, and I wanted to make cute little silly, funny, spooky tier names. That's it. So my top tier is Nightmare Fuel. These are books that either did terrify me or I just think they are phenomenally done. I loved the writing, I loved the characters, I loved everything about them. These are what a lot of people call like God tier. Alright, these are like my all-time favorite horror books that I have read to date. Then the next one is Almost Peed My Pants. These were like super spooky or just really good, but they weren't like all-time favorites. They were close. But, you know, you can only have but so many favorites, so they had to get demoted a tiny bit. But these are ones that are like 4 or 5 stars. I would recommend to anyone. Amazing. Super good. The next tier, the middle tier, is Creepy Comforts. These were spooky, but, you know, they were just good. Maybe like 3 star, maybe a couple 4 stars. You know, these were like good books. Like, I have nothing against them. I enjoyed them. And you know, they're just not my all-time favorites. So that is the Creepy Comforts tier, more just like middle of the road. Okay, then we have Monster with No Teeth. And these are books that I had hopes for maybe, or sounded good. Clearly, I wouldn't read a book if I didn't think it sounded good, but that were just a letdown. Like, maybe they didn't pack the punch I wanted them to punch, you know? Maybe they weren't as creepy, spooky as I wanted. Maybe the writing wasn't as well as I liked. So these are just kind of like maybe like 2 star, 3 star. These are not my favorites. I wouldn't really recommend them. They were just meh, right? They were just, nah, they were okay. And my last tier is Dreadful, and not the good kind. Alright, so these are like books that I just thought were not good at all. These were ones I wish I could scrub my brain clean of. These were ones that were either really not spooky, really freaking bad, didn't like the writing, didn't like the characters. I do read extreme horrors often, and extreme horrors tend to just overdo it for me. I don't think a lot of them do it well. It's just like gore and sexual nastiness thrown in your face, which I understand is kind of the whole idea of extreme horror, but there are some that do it well, and maybe these are ones that did not at all. Alright, and I have a lot of books here, so we're gonna see like what falls into what category, and I'm really excited to see how this goes. Hopefully editing me can figure out how to get this to work for you guys. I put these in no particular order. I just kind of went through my Goodreads. We're gonna see how this goes. So without further ado, let's begin this tier ranking video. So the first book I have on here is Love Sickness by Junji Ito. This is a horror manga, and I did read I think I read like a couple of his a couple years ago. So I did include those because his are fatter manga. Normally I wouldn't include manga on this, but I did. So Love Sickness. I don't remember much about it. I remember liking it. Obviously, I loved all of the manga I read by him, but because I don't remember like much about it, I think I'm just gonna put it in Creepy Comforts, because I know I liked it and I know I love his art and his stories. I just don't remember much about it. Okay, the next one is Winterset Hollow, and this was so good. I remember it took me a while to read it because it did lag in the middle, but it was basically like, what if your storybook characters came to life in a bad way kind of thing. So we're having like talk-it rabbits, and they kind of start turning on the humans to hunt them. It's really weird. I don't want to spoil too much or explain it too much, because I think I did mention this in a previous horror recommendation video, but I did enjoy this. It just kind of lagged a little bit. I'm also going to put it in Creepy Comforts, and I'm going to put it in front of Lovesickness because I did enjoy it and I actually remember what it was about. The next one is Uzumaki by Junji Ito. I loved this. This one I do remember. The art in this was sickening and the story was amazing. I'm gonna put this in Almost Pee My Pants. This is my favorite manga to date. I love him. I love it. It's just so good. Okay, the next one is The Demonic by Lee Mountford. This book was terrifying. This was The Conjuring in book form, okay? Lee Mountford in general is one of my favorite horror writers, and I don't know why people don't talk about him. Like, why is he not well known? His writing is so good. It's so good. This one, I remember there being a really horrifying silo scene, and it like still sticks with me, and sometimes I get it confused with the actual Conjuring movies because like I read books and they just play like movies in my head. But this book was so good, and honestly, I don't know if I want it to be in Almost Peed My Pants or Nightmare Fuel because I know that I read other books that I really enjoyed. For now, I'm gonna put it in Nightmare Fuel because I ate this book up, okay? This book like made me shit my pants. It was scary, like not even pee pants, like shit pants, okay? It was spooky. That's crazy. I'm making myself giggle here. All right, the next book is Womb by Duncan Ralston. This book is disgusting. This book was horrifying in so many ways. This is an extreme horror, and it's about a man who is just telling this prostitute horrible stories that have happened in a motel room. Horrific, graphic, sexual. I ate it up though, I'm not gonna lie. I loved this book. It wasn't super scary, but I do still think about it and how messed up it was. So I think I'm gonna put it in Almost Pee My Pants, and I'm gonna put it in front of Uzumaki. I loved this book so much, I'm not gonna lie. I ate it up. That is how you do extreme horror correctly. The next book I have is Merfolk, and this is by Jeremy Bates. I briefly remember reading this, and I did read my review of it, and I rated it pretty high at the time. This was before I got like super into reading and I became a little more judgy on what I'm reading. I remember I did like the fact that I've never seen mermaids depicted that way. I think I'm gonna put it in Creepy Comforts, and I'm gonna put it in front of Lovesickness because I do remember more than I did about Lovesickness. The Lost Village. This is a hot take because I've watched a couple of my booktubers completely destroy this book, okay? I love this book. I talk about it all the time. There's no even like debate. Like, it's going up at the top of Nightmare Fuel. It's going in front of The Demonic. It was so good, and yes, it was slow in the beginning and I was like giving Blair Witch Project, but I loved it, okay? I just loved it. I can't even explain anything else. Like, I ate it up. You guys need to read it. It was so good. The next one is Ghost Camera by Darcy Coates, and honestly, I'm gonna put Dreadful, and this hurts me because I love Darcy Coates. I think she's one of my favorite horror writers, but girl, no, I'm sorry. I just think the whole idea is stupid, and I've seen movies like that where it's like, you know, it's a haunted camera, something you take a picture and there's a ghost in there. I just remember not liking it, and I remember being very disappointed because I do love Darcy Coates. Not a fan at all, so I think that's gonna stay right there in Dreadful. The next one is It Came From Space. This is like a short horror novella type, and I loved this. I'm not gonna lie, I did really like this. It's basically kind of like a giant alligator type creature alien falls from Earth and is hungry, and why I really liked it was because you actually get the perspective of the alien creature and you get the perspective of some of the people on the island. So I thought that was really unique, and I've not ever really seen that in like a horror book where you see like the villain or antagonist viewpoint. So it was really cool seeing a creature, and it was like, I'm hungry, and like, it was cool. I will put that in Creepy Comforts, and I think I am going to put it in front of Love Sickness. Actually, I'm going to put it in front of Merfolk too, because I did really enjoy that. The next one is Shiver by Junji Ito, and this is like a collection of horror story manga. I really liked this one also. I think I'm gonna put it at the end of Almost Peed My Pants, okay? His art is why, I think. Like, his stories are also like really messed up, and I really liked this one. There was like a balloon head okay, it was good. I loved it. The next one is The Butterfly Garden, and I think this is a series. This is book 1 though, and this is the only one I read, and some people would say maybe this is more like thriller. I don't know, I just kind of go off Goodreads and the vibe I was getting, and like, I felt like it was more horror. This was messed up. Basically, this guy kidnaps these girls, and he tattoos giant butterfly wings on their backs, and he keeps them captive, and he calls them his butterflies, and they're his butterfly garden. And I remember it being really messed up. I'm honestly going to put it in front of Winterset Hollow. I do remember liking this one a lot. It has been a couple years. I heard that the second one's also really good, and then I heard it kind of like declines from there, but I loved the first one. The next one is The Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcy Coates. And when I tell you, this is one of my favorite books. This is one of my favorite books. I don't think I like this one as much as The Demonic, so I'm going to put it at the end of Nightmare Fuel. But I love this book. I love this book, you guys, okay? This one's really good. I think she's like homeless, or I don't know. A lot of Darcy Coates' plot lines are kind of like basic or like similar, but then she always has like really cool twists, and it's not always what you think. This one is a girl, and I don't remember how she goes about staying in this house, but she goes about staying in this house. It's kind of isolated from society, which is a big trope in Darcy's books, and there's like a set of rules she's supposed to follow. Like, she has to set a candle in the attic. Like, she's not really supposed to go in the attic after certain times. There's creepy vibes going on. She thinks the house is like haunted, and I can honestly say this one, I liked that it wasn't your stereotypical ghost story. That's what I love about Darcy, is she sets them up like a classic haunted house ghost story and always makes them unique and different, and it's not always what you think, and that's one of the reasons I love her. So that one, yeah, that's a good spot for that one. All right, guys, so the next book is The Caro Haunt by Darcy Coates, and this is your classic haunted house ghost story. This is everything I have ever wanted in a classic ghost story horror movie, okay? If this was like a horror movie and they could actually do it correctly, it would make my heart so happy. So I will be putting this at the top of Nightmare Fuel. This is one of my favorite books ever. I loved it. Yes, there are classic cliche tropes in it, but this is how you do a haunted house story correctly. This is how you do it, and she ate, okay? This book is, it's one of my favorites by her, or it is my favorite by her. This is why I fell in love with Darcy. So that is definitely a good spot for Nightmare Fuel. Next book is Dead Inside by Chandler Morrison. This is another extreme horror. This is a necrophiliac meets a cannibal. So we have a security guard who works at a hospital, and he works security in the morgue. And he has a fascination with dead people and doing obscene things to the dead women when no one's around. And then we have I don't know what you would call her, a maternity nurse, a delivery doctor. And obviously she has to sometimes see babies that don't make it, and that's horrifying and really sad, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But she has a unique taste for dead babies, and she sneaks into the morgue. They interact, and thus begins a really disgusting, horrifying journey, and I can honestly say it's one of my favorite books ever, so I will be putting it up in Nightmare Fuel. Not that it's super scary, but because it is just my favorite. I've read this book. I've owned it physically. I borrowed it on my Kindle. I now own it on my Kindle, okay? I love this book. Really good book. And yeah, I think that's a good spot for it. The next one I have is Smashed by Junji Ito, and I am going to put this in front of Merfolk in Creepy Comforts because I do remember liking this one, but I don't remember much. And honestly, I don't know, guys. I think I'm gonna move Merfolk down and Lovesickness. And maybe even put Lovesickness in front of Merfolk. I'm changing things up, okay? Because I remember them both, like, I enjoyed them, but I don't remember them being like, oh my god, scary. I remember Lovesickness being just meh, and like Merfolk, evil mermaids. Like, I don't remember. I don't know how that can be scary. I don't really remember, but I think we're gonna start it there. That makes more sense to me. The next book, you guys, this is going at the very top, okay? Very top. No reason for it to go anywhere else. It's going in front of the Caro Haunt. I read the like 14-page prologue and slept with my lights on, okay? And I had a friend read this and she didn't really like it. That's her opinion, honey, okay? Because this book was terrifying. Even my grandma was like, yeah, it was very spooky, okay? And my grandma usually is just like, yeah, it was good, but like she even was like, spooky. I love this book. This is giving Wendigo vibes, if you guys know the lore behind Wendigos. Basically, it's a couple and they go up to a cabin, they get snowed in. It's that isolated trope, which I freaking love in horror when it's done right. And they are hearing voices out in the snow and they're like mimicking people they know. And I literally have goosebumps thinking about it, y'all. Like, I wish I could show you. I'm like, it's terrifying. Like, I was shitting my pants. And what's even scarier is that his fiance is talking back to the thing outside in her sleep. I have full body chills. It's horrifying. Like, I don't think I've ever read a scarier book in my life. This one actually got me real good. So scary. Okay, the next one is Darkfall Crimson Dawn, and actually I think this is book 3, so let me just go ahead and get all of them. These are all top tier, okay? This series is my favorite. I think I'm even going to put it in front of the Caro Haunt, honestly. Let me find the second one. The second one is Darkfall Shadows of the Deep. I'm just gonna put them in order. So you just know they're a big grouping. Book 1 is Darkfall Deathborn. This is a really good horror series, which I don't ever see often. I eat this up. Think TV show Supernatural, if you guys have seen that. I know it gets cheesy sometimes, but it is one of my favorite shows. So we are hunting monsters and creatures but we're in the 1800s. Like, we're wagons. We don't have like just grenades and crazy machines to kill these monsters. And the very first book, we meet a character and his son is brutally murdered by some monster and he doesn't have anything else to live for, so he gets tied into an organization called Deathborn, and it's kind of like a tiered society. So he becomes a Deathborn. Basically, he is expendable. He is supposed to kill monsters and he wants revenge for his son's death. And he learns monsters are real, and it gives Supernatural vibes, but set in the 1800s, so the way they have to do things is so different. And there's obviously like a huge overarching plot line of something really dark and ancestral and evil coming. I freaking love these books. I don't think I do have these in the right order. I really can't see, so we're just gonna leave them, whatever. But yeah, that's an amazing series. Again, Lee Mountford, you see him now twice up in the top tier, technically 4 times, because I loved all 3 of those books I've read. I haven't read the newest one. I thought it was a completed trilogy, and when I saw he came out with a new one, I said, oh! And also, I had finished book 3 and was like, it can't end like this. So I do need to read book 4, and I know it's gonna be good, because I love Lee Mountford. Why do people not talk about him? Y'all, like, get on him. It's such good, scary, spooky writing. I love it. Okay, the next book. You've Lost a Lot of Blood by Eric LaRocca. And Eric LaRocca is one of my favorite horror writers. This book creeped me the hell out, okay? It is like a story within a story, and while I don't understand how the story is connected, this is a book that is on my reread list because I want to like understand it better. The story within the story scared the shit out of me. Because I didn't fully understand the whole connection. I don't think I'm gonna put it in my nightmare fuel. I think I am gonna put it at the top of Almost Peed My Pants though. And even though I rated it, I feel like lower than Womb, it has the possibility of being a 5-star. Like, I want to reread it so that I can maybe like get a little more out of it. But it was really good, and I love all of his cover art. It's beautiful. And again, the story within the story was horrifying. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Do you guys know that video game? It was like Inky Machine, or I don't know. It was like a cartoony, like spooky horror game, but think like actually freaking terrifying, and it gives that vibe. I don't know if that made sense. It gives that vibe. That's where we're gonna go with that. All right, the next book is Craven Manor by Darcy Coates. This is my second favorite Darcy Coates ever, and I will have to put this in front of Lost Village. And honestly, I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it in front of Carl Hunt now that I'm thinking about it. This one was really unique. This guy gets an advertisement for like a landscaping or like maintenance type job on this big estate. He's poor. He stays in the groundskeeper's house, and there's like a set of rules, and he never actually meets his hirer or his boss. But his boss's name is Bram, and there's just weird shit that goes on, okay? There's like creepy vibes, lights coming on in the big estate. It's a very derelict and like run-down house, so he's like, why does this need groundkeeping? Like, okay. And there's like, you're not supposed to stay out of the groundkeeper's house past a certain time, and they're like very strict on the rules. Bad things will happen. And I loved it. Okay, I loved it. I think I actually do like this more than the Carl Hunt now that I think about it. This one had also kind of a basic plot line if you think about it. Oh, groundskeeper and creepy shit happening. Okay, it's giving Ashburn House, but the way that she did it and the twists and the turns and the final reveal was like heartbreaking, but also like terrifying. And I just really love her writing. I think she is like the queen of atmospheric horror. I have never read anyone else that can describe a house or an object and have me in full body goosebumps like she can. She's definitely up there, one of the best. The next book on this list is, I can't even read that, Something Blackened Teeth. I hate this book. I'll be real, when I go book shopping and my mom happens to be with me, every time I see this book I flip it off. I give it the bird. My mom jokingly would be like, oh, it's your favorite book. I hated this book. And I don't know if you guys remember when Pango Books first became like an app. It's like a book buying, selling app. When that first became a thing, this is the very first thing I ever bought on there used, because I was like, I'm not paying full price for a book that's like this skinny. And I am so happy I did not. It was also the first book I sold on that app. I hated this book with a burning passion. There's no doubt about it. It's one of the worst horror books I've ever read. I will take Stupid Ghost Camera over this. The characters read so immaturely. Like, I can't even explain it. They are staying in a house. They're supposed to be going to like an event or something, and just the way that they act and bicker. And I get that it was supposed to like build the tension between the characters, but it was disgusting and I despised it. For a book being that short, and the fact that I hated it that much really should tell you something. I thought it was very disappointing. I thought it had a really cool premise. I was excited to maybe, I think this is Japanese culture, I was excited to like get that view, and it totally went over my head. It was awful. I hated it. Next book, Hell House by Richard Matheson, same person that wrote I Am Legend, which I have not read still, but Hell House was good. I remember liking it, but I was also kind of disappointed. I think it kind of just wasn't for me. I think I'm gonna put it in front of Smashed though. It was decent, like it was good. I do remember a really horrifying like sauna scene. Also kind of sexual vibes in here that I remember, but it was good. It Came from Space too. You guys see where I put the first one, right? This one, horrible. I'm going to put it below Ghost Camera. This one, just it was not it. It was not it at all. The continuation should not have happened. I think there's even like a third one or a fourth one. Not happening. I thought this one was so stupid. There was like one scene in there that I thought was like very smart. I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of genius to like get the monster off your track. But the rest I was like, this is stupid. The next one, If We Can Never Leave This Place by Eric LaRocca. Also one of my favorites by him. Definitely going to be putting it up here with You've Lost a Lot of Blood. While I rated it higher than You've Lost a Lot of Blood, I've already explained, that one just has, that one terrified me. It has the potential and I want the bigger message in it. This one, We Can Never Leave This Place, had like almost like a fantasy element. For me, it was the kind of horror where it wasn't about the horror in it, it was about the message, and it packed a punch, okay? And the book is like, I could get it, but it's so thin, and it was really good. It had me sobbing, which you wouldn't expect in a horror book, but for me it was the message behind it, and that's why I loved it so much. It was also really unique. It was like bugs, so if you don't like bugs, I wouldn't read it, but if you do like bugs and you want like a really dark grief story, you should read that. It was a good one, and it's short. Now the book that everyone like thinks Eric LaRocca was one of his first ones, things have gotten a lot worse since we last spoke. And I will admit, I spent a decent amount of money to get the first edition of this book, this cover specifically, and I'm not a fan. It wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. It was good, and I was like, what the hell? But it wasn't my favorite. It was good. I will put it in the front of Creepy Comforts. It was definitely extreme horror. There were some weird elements. It was good. But for me, everyone hyping up Eric LaRocca, it was actually one of my least favorites, which is crazy because again, I feel like this is one of his most highly rated books. But it was good. I still recommend it. Let me not crap on it too much. The Haunting of Blackwood House. What did I love Darcy Coates, but this girl has some misses, and this book was one of them. The main character made me want to rip the book and throw it down a garbage disposal and then like pick it up and throw it somewhere else. Like she was so annoying. And basically this book, she inherits this house, or she buys this house, I think, and people say it's haunted and that's why no one wants it, and it's really cheap. And so she moves in, she's desperate for a house. And she's a really big skeptic. I guess like her family in the past was like very ghosty, seance-y. She never believed in it. She liked it. It traumatized her. I understand that. But it was just like, girl, there are things that are very clearly not a person up in your house. And she was just so stupid and whiny, and I hated it. And this is the only Darcy Coates book that I have physically owned and gotten rid of because I hated it that much. I think I will even put Ghost Camera in front of this. Not that I remember much about Ghost Camera, but I do remember viscerally despising the main character in Blackwood House, so that makes sense to me. The Haunting of Gillespie House. Okay, this is like the main novella in it is Haunting of Gillespie House, and then there's like a couple short stories after. I know a lot of people that say Darcy Coates writes really good short stories and doesn't really write good like novels. I disagree. I don't like her short stories. I actually prefer her full-length novels. The Haunting of Gillespie House was terrifying and I really liked it. I didn't like that it was so short though. Like, I wish that that book was just The Haunting of Gillespie House. I thought the other stories were good, but like I don't really care for short stories most of the time, because when they are really good I want more. So I'm never fully satisfied with a short story. So while I loved this book, I'm gonna say it was Monster with No Teeth, and I'm gonna put it in the front of that because I did think a couple of the stories were really good, and Haunting of Gillespie House was terrifying. I just wanted more from it. So, you know, and there were a couple that were like, there was like a mannequin one, and while it was scary, it was like, come on, like it's just kind of cliche. Like, I liked The Haunting of Gillespie House and the other ones were kind of a miss. What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. I love this book. This is a retelling of The Fall of the House of Usher by Poe, but like add in some like weird fungus vibes. All right. I loved this. I read this on a plane ride. I'm definitely going to put it up in Almost Pee My Pants. And I'm going to put it in front of Shiver, but I'm not going to put it in front of Uzumaki because I love Uzumaki. But it is definitely really good. And I've read multiple of T. Kingfisher's books, whether it was horror or fantasy, and I love their writing. So that one definitely is going to stay there. Dead Silence. Okay, this is a good cosmic horror. Okay, this is like sci-fi horror. And I gave it a 4-star, and the reason I did, and looking back, it probably was worth a 5-star. The reason I gave it a 4-star though was on the back of the book, you know, they have all those blurbs and everyone was comparing it to Alien the movie. I didn't get that much Alien vibes, and then the final reveal, it was amazing, but it being compared to Alien really kind of had me in a different mindset when reading it. So I'm going to put it in Almost Pee My Pants, and I'm going to put it in front of Shiver, and actually I'm going to put it in front of What Moves the Dead, to be honest. It was really good. I just didn't like that I went into it thinking it's going to be like Alien the movie, because it wasn't. That's the only complaint I had about that book. Other than that, I loved the characters, I loved the story, I loved the reveal. I thought it was really cool. Basically, they are space cruisers and they are supposed to be going back to their main hub, but they get a distress call from a luxury space line that went missing like years ago, and they're like, dude, if we can find it, even though it's technically out of bounds and we can get in trouble, we could make hella money, right? So they go and everyone's murdered. There's like blood, the gravity is off, it's a mess and creepy vibes. Okay, so I did really like that one. A House at the Bottom of a Lake by Josh Malerman, and honestly I'm gonna put this in, we're gonna put this in front of Love Sickness and Monster with No Teeth. This was good, it was entertaining, but it wasn't scary. I thought it was kind of weird. There was a couple weird scenes. It just wasn't, it wasn't all that. It was like a cute younger couple and they met up at this lake, and then they started snorkeling and realized there's like a spooky house at the bottom of the lake, and that was like their little date thing, and weird shit happens while they're down under the water, but it wasn't anything like jaw-dropping. There is another book on here. It's actually, I'll just go ahead and pull it up. Salvage by Duncan Ralston. Again, same person that wrote Womb. This is terrifying. This is one of my favorite books ever. It is very much like The Lost Village, so I'm going to put it right next to The Lost Village. I just think I like The Lost Village more, but they give the same vibes. This is about an entire town that gets flooded by a dam. And so you're getting, same with The Lost Village, you're getting the present timeline, and then you're getting the past timeline of what happened and why did all these people disappear, like what happened to the people in the town. That was terrifying, and that was House in the Bottom of a Lake done well. That one was amazing. Fanged Dandelion by Eric LaRocca. This is just like poetry, like horror poetry, and I'm gonna put it right next to Nothing But Blackened Teeth. This was, I think it went over my head. While it was stunning, and actually I'm gonna put it in front of It Came From Space too. It was stunning writing, but I just didn't understand any of it, to be honest. And I don't know, call me stupid, whatever. It just was mid. Like, it wasn't my favorite ever. The Deep by Nick Cutter. I am a marine scientist. I love Mariana's Trench deep sea stuff, and this was really good. It wasn't my favorite, and that was disappointing, and I think it's just because it took me so long to read it, and so like I kept taking breaks in between. I think if I reread it I would like it more. But this is basically, everyone starts getting a sickness called the Gits. They start forgetting things, and then their body forgets how to breathe and they die. Like, they slowly start losing their function, and so they think that the cure is at the bottom of the Mariana's Trench. There is a substance called ambrosia, and they think that this ambrosia can cure it, but there is something sinister down at the bottom of that trench, and it was horrifying, to be honest. I think I'm gonna put this in Creepy Comforts, and I think I'm actually gonna put it in front of Things Have Gotten a Lot Worse Since We Last Spoke, because I liked the vibes in this a lot more, and this was actually scary. I think a lot of extreme horror isn't scary, it's more just like disgusting and disturbing. So yeah, that was a good book. The Har by David Sodergren. I've heard a lot about David Sodergren, and I've heard a lot about this book specifically, and so I finally read it, and I loved it. Okay, I loved it. This one also had a really good message in it, and it was like disgusting and body horror heavy, so if you don't like that, maybe not for you, but I loved this. I loved the message. I'm gonna put it up here behind Dead Silence. I really liked it. I liked like I said, I liked the message. I keep repeating myself, but this is basically a Scottish tale, like think like folk horror. And we have a we have an old little lady, and she lives on a seaside town, and basically giant companies trying to come and bulldoze the whole town and make it into some like bougie golf course, and she is an adamant old lady. She is like, I am not leaving my town. My husband died here. I will die here. And so they really start like pestering her, and something comes from the ocean and is like there to defend her. Very interesting. I liked it a lot. The Thief of Always, yet another book that is, wow, okay, this has to go up there. This is also one of my favorites. I feel bad that I have a lot more nightmare fuel than I do other books, but I love this book. I'm gonna even put it in front of, I'm gonna put it in front of The Demonic. I really liked this book. The message behind it was so good. Basically, a little boy is depressed, and this creature guy comes and is like, you know, do you want me to take you away where everything is happy and you can get everything you want? And he's like, okay. And it seems like such a fun time. He goes to this house and he's living life and there's friends there and all these good things, but he realized there's a very sinister thing going on. While it wasn't like horrifying and scary, it was like creepy and eerie, and again, the message behind it is why I ate it up. Like, I had never read a Clive Barker, but this book made me want to read more of his stuff. The message, just the message behind it, it had me in tears literally at the end. I loved it so much. And now that I'm here, hold on, we're gonna do some rearranging real quick because I'm feeling like Dead Inside maybe should not go in all-time favorites. I feel like I'm gonna put it at the top of Almost Be My Pants, and I think I'm also going to demote The Demonic because while I'm thinking about it, I loved Ashburn House more, so I'm gonna put The Demonic at Almost Be My Pants, and I think I may even put Dead Inside in front of that. I don't know. You know what, we're just gonna leave that for now. I may do some more rearranging, but I think that's good for now. Yeah, that looks okay. The next one is The Stroke of Winter, and this was like a free Kindle download, and I was like, well, whatever, I'll just read it. And this was really good. I think her father was an artist, and there's something with the paintings, and there's creepy vibes, and there's like a story within the paintings, and there's creepy shit going on in her house. I remember actually eating this up, okay? I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna put this in front of The Deep. I enjoyed this a lot more than that even. And actually we're gonna do another moving around. There, that looks better. Okay. I loved The Stroke of Winter. It was definitely like a surprise. I'd never heard anyone talk about it. It was simply like a free download that month, and it was really good. Now that I'm thinking about it, I loved the story. I loved the characters, and just like, it was freaking creepy, these paintings, and if you put them all together, they connected and told this like horrifying story. You got me messed up, okay? It was good. It was real good. All right, so the next book is The Woman in Black by Susan Hill, and this was, I think, one of the first movies Daniel Radcliffe did after the Harry Potter franchise was done. And I loved the horror movie. Okay, that like scared the shit out of me. I slept with my mom for a couple nights when I was younger and I watched that. Like, I remember it scaring the crap out of me. The book though, not the same vibe. It was okay. It wasn't super scary. Wasn't my favorite thing ever. I'm gonna put it, I don't know, I think I'm gonna put it behind The Deep. And I actually do think I'm gonna put Winterset Hollow in front of The Butterfly Garden. I know I'm changing things up. I also do think I'm going to put Hell House in front of It Came from Space. Yeah, The Woman in Black was good. The whole premise is I don't even know like what exactly he does. He's like an auditor maybe. I'm probably completely wrong. He works for some kind of company and he needs to go out to this house to help this lady who had passed with all of her belongings. So he has to get together like all her paperwork and everything for his company, and the house is haunted. There's like some weird shit that happens, and there's like a giant bog between the house and the like the closest village, and like there's just spooky shit. The movie, horrifying. The book, not as scary. The book I did like and appreciate certain aspects though. I feel like I got more of like the background story than I did in the movie, so I did really like that. And it's kind of like, clearly he survives the incident, and it's him retelling his family like a spooky ghost story, and he's retelling his encounter at this house. So it was really unique and I did really like it. I just didn't love it compared to the movie. So I'm gonna put it there, yeah. 100% Match. Okay, so last year, at the end of last year, I was trying to read a couple more books on New Year's Eve because I was like, dude, I really want to hit my Goodreads goal this year. So I was just reading a bunch of random extreme horrors on my Kindle all day. And unfortunately, these next couple ones were some of them. And I say unfortunately because I don't know what the hell I read. Okay, 100% Match. Creepy, creepy. I'm gonna say Monster with No Teeth. It was good. I actually did really like it. I think I'm gonna put it in front of a house at the bottom of the lake. It's basically, I don't even know how to explain it. This guy just wants a girl and it is disgusting and grotesque, and the way that the end flipped, I said, wow. I don't know how else to explain it. Extreme horrors are really hard to explain sometimes because they're just so out of pocket, and I'm trying not to say certain things on this channel, okay? So if you just gotta go read it for yourself. This is messed up. Devour. Rain Havoc. I read a couple of their books. This book was, I didn't really care for it, to be honest. I'm gonna put it in front of, I'm gonna put it behind Ghost Camera. It was just mid. It wasn't good. I think this is like a wife and she's getting abused, and then her husband finally like gets paralyzed or something, and she starts like stabbing him and like doing weird shit to him. Don't even know where else to go with that. Gosh, yeah, not my favorite. Tapeworm. This one was good. I'm gonna put this at the top of Monster No Teeth. To be honest, this was messed up. It was gross, but I kind of like, it was a satisfying gross. Like, that's so bad. If you were to read this and be like, what the hell is she talking about? Okay, no, I didn't like it. I liked it. It just, think tapeworm and weird shit, and yeah. Actually, I'm gonna put it below Gillespie House. I did really like Gillespie House. But yeah, it was good, but it wasn't great. A lot of extreme horrors they just don't hit me right. Maybe I'm not a fan of them. I don't know. I like grotesque stuff. I say I'm not a fan, but like there are a couple on this list that are like more extreme and I liked. This one was just, it was good. Magic. I don't know what the hell, and I want to say so many other words about this book I read. This book was so just what the F. I don't even know where to put this. I'm gonna put it in front of Ghost Camera because while it was a what the F and it was very sexual, like extremely sexual, if you don't like that, don't read it. But that shit had me crazy, alright? This book was wild. It wasn't good, but it made me laugh and just go, what did I just read? Several times. Yeah, if you were to tell someone that you read this book and give them the plot, they would look at you like you need to be in a psych ward. Okay, it was wild. Ushers by Joe Hill. I loved this. This is a short story that came out and I was able to get on my Kindle, but I loved it nonetheless. I definitely want it to go like up here. I think I'm gonna put it at maybe like the end of, beginning of Creepy Comforts. It was a really cool little vibe. It was giving, you know, in Supernatural, I keep bringing shit back to that show, but do you know in Supernatural how there's like the Grim Reapers and only people that obviously are dying or have died can see them? Yeah, it was that, and it was really cool and I liked it, and I really wish that it was a full-length book. Again, that's like my only issue with short stories, is usually the ones I enjoy, I wish there was more. What Feasts at Night. This is the second book in the, I think it's like Fallen Soldier, I can't remember. This is the second book. The first one is What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. I like this one a lot. I didn't like it as much, but it still was really good. I'll put them right next to each other. This one was creepy. This one was, I don't know if this was like a retelling of something or what, but this one was like something coming when you're sleeping, if that makes sense. So you kind of do need to read the first book to read this one because it does follow the events of the first book, but it's a totally different like issue going on, and I thought it was really good, and I love the covers of these books. I think they're stunning. The next one is Gone to See the Riverman by Christopher Triana. This book was effed. This book was good. This book was real good. When I think about this book, it was messed up. Like, there was a lot of really messed up stuff going on in that book. I don't even know how to explain that one to you. You guys just have to Google that one. But I'm happy that I bought that on my Kindle. I'm happy I paid money for a Kindle book because that one, wow. Ooh, that one was crazy. First it was just like creepy and like really effed up. And then you got to the end and it was like actually spooky vibes. And I was like, what the hell is going on? It was a good one. I really liked that. The Last House on Needless Street. Now look, y'all. My cousin, and she doesn't watch my YouTube videos very often, but I'm gonna have to tell her to watch this one because I'm talking about her. My cousin does not read. She made me read. Let me go ahead and rank this one. I'm Thinking of Ending Things after I read this book, and so that I made her read this book. They are mind effers, okay? What? This book was wild. We are getting the perspective of a guy, and he's weird. Like, he's a weird guy. We're getting the perspective of some chick, right? And we're like, what? And then you're getting the perspective of a God-loving cat. This book was really good. And at first I finished it and said, but the more, my cousin read it, okay? She read it. She was like, what the heck? This is the kind of book I like. Never really read before in her life. And her and I, the more we talked about it and decompressed this book and really picked it apart, the more I came to appreciate it and love it. While it's not my favorite, it is going to go up there next to Gone to See the Riverman because, wow, it was crazy. I really liked it. I don't know what else to say about that. And while I'm at it, I'm also gonna go ahead and rank I'm Thinking of Ending Things because they both have that same kind of like mind effing vibe. This one I didn't like as much though. Like, I kind of saw it coming. My cousin read it and like was like, oh my god, I read a book for the first time in like ever and it's so good and I love it so much, I'm reading it again, right? And so I read it in an entire sitting and I called her and we debriefed about it, but at the same time I was like, it was good, but it wasn't like amazing because I kind of saw what was happening coming, if that makes sense. So for that, it's gonna go in Creepy Comforts, but it will go in the front of Creepy Comforts. I will give it that. It was good. It just wasn't, it wasn't The Last House on Needless Street. Home Before Dark. Now, Riley Sager is normally a thriller writer, and this one is more horror thriller, and y'all, I love him. He's just like Darcy Coates. He has like kind of these cliche setups, but the way he executes it and the way he does his twists and his building and his characters, I freaking love him. This was definitely one of my favorite Riley Sager books. So I don't know if I want it to go in Almost Peed My Pants or an all-time favorite. I feel like I want to put it in all-time favorite. Like, I feel like I want to put it between Craven Manor and Caro Haunt. Maybe even in front of Craven Manor, actually. It was so good. I love Riley Sager, okay? The way that he does his crazy little twists in his horror and thriller books is just wild to me. That is definitely one of my favorites. I think that's a good spot for that one. Now we're talking about Eric LaRocca again, okay? My favorite Eric LaRocca book, I don't know why I just said it like that I have read was They Were Here Before Us, a novella in pieces, and this is like short stories. There is an overarching theme of nature and how, you know, maybe humans are the real monsters here. And as an environmental person, as a tree hugger, whatever you want to call me, I really appreciated this book because people are disgusting and disgraceful to this planet, and I just, while it was told in a disgusting, grotesque way, the message behind it, I was like, 100% Eric, you got it. You hit the nail on the head. So this is definitely one of my all-time favorites. I did read this on my Kindle and then I did go and physically buy it. I think I'm going to put it, dang, this is hard because I loved the message in this. I think I'm actually, wow, I really don't know where I want to put it. I feel like it's not scary, but the messages behind the stories in this book were amazing. I think I'm gonna put it in front of The Lost Village. Let's put it there for now, okay? Because I'm not sure where else I'm gonna put it, but that is like, it's just one of my favorites ever. All right, we are almost done. We have 3 more. The next book is Pinata, and I recently read this the end of last year, and it was really good. This is like Mexican culture, like Aztec, and it was really good. Basically, I think it's like an architect, and her daughters go to Mexico, like her home, like where her family's from, and she is like kind of in charge, but she's a woman, and she's also like half American, so they're like, ew, American and woman, ew. But one of the daughters finds a weird thing, and the book opens up with like way back in the past, some like horrific graphic event happened. And then she's like being warned that something's following her family, something's attached to her family, something ancient and like has been wronged. And it was really good. It was creepy. I'm gonna put it in Almost Pee My Pants. And I think I'm even gonna put it in front of Gone to See the Riverman. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm gonna have to like edit this because I was looking at it and there's some things that I'm like, wait, they kind of need moved around. But for now, it's gonna go there. It was really good. Parasite by Darcy Coates. This is a sci-fi horror or a cosmic horror by her, and very like kind of cliche, okay, but you know, obviously there's some kind of alien from the far reaches of space coming to like these space stations, and it basically kills you, but then it like mimics you. I don't know how to explain it. So like you wouldn't even know that it's your brother. It could be a murderous alien. The way or the reason I really enjoyed it though was because you start out in the far reaches of space, so you get like the very low level space stations getting infected, and then you slowly see it. You get like different space stations perspectives as it's like encroaching closer and closer to the main hub of society in space, and that's why I really liked it. I also did enjoy some of the characters, and I thought it was really interesting. Not necessarily unique, but very interesting. I am going to put it in Creepy Comforts, and I think I am going to put it, I don't know, I feel like I'm going to put it in front of I'm Thinking of Ending Things. And I don't know, I'll edit this in a second. The last one is The Trees Grew Because I Bled There by Eric LaRocca. This is also short stories. I liked it. I don't remember much about it. I mean, I guess I'm just gonna put it in Creepy Comforts. It wasn't my favorite. I remember liking it more than I can't talk. I remember liking it a lot at the time, but I like am thinking about it and I can't remember anything about it. So I don't know, this is like my rough, here's like a rough overview, right? But we're gonna give me a minute, all right? And I'm gonna edit this. I'm not gonna record me like going through it because I'm very indecisive. But let me move some things around, and then I'll show you guys the final product. All right, so I've kind of moved things around. The top tier, I don't think I really touched. That's pretty solid. Like, I love Stolen Tongues. I love the Deathborn series, Home Before Dark, Craven Manor. Like those, I feel like those are pretty good. I mean, give or take, the last couple maybe could move, but honestly not even. I feel like the top is like pretty solid, right? Almost Peed My Pants, I did change quite a bit. Thinking about it, Dead Inside, while it wasn't super scary, like it is one of my favorites. Like I think it's just so disgusting, and I just love it. Like I talk about it all the time, which is so weird. You should not be having conversations with everyday people about necrophiliacs and cannibals, but here I am. Yeah, so I did move quite a few things in there, and I did move some things down. I did rearrange the bottom 3, but this is like this is a pretty good ranking, I feel like. I got a little, Almost Peed My Pants and Creepy Comforts was kind of hard. I needed to move some things down. I did demote I'm Thinking of Ending Things, honestly, because as much as I want to love it, it just like, it didn't hit. All right, guys, my camera keeps dying, but that is my official ranking of all the horror books I've read in the last couple years. I didn't realize I read so many disturbing or extreme horrors as I did, but they just tend to be easy reads because they're short. I also wanted to say Lee Mountford, y'all get on him. Like, why is he not more popular? I love their writing. Clearly all the books that I read by them were in my top tier. I also have been saying that Darcy Coates and Eric LaRocca are my favorite writers, like horror writers. I don't feel like that is true anymore. Like, I don't feel like I can say that. Like, really putting it out there and comparing it to everything else I've read, I can't say that those are my two favorites because there were a lot of their books that were mid or not good to me. So maybe they aren't my favorites. Maybe Lee Mountford is the king for me, okay? Kind of some revelations I had doing this, which was fun. I want to read more horror, and I think that doing this made me realize that I want to diversify my horror some. Read less disturbing and extreme horror and more like spooky horror books, right? But that is my official ranking, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have read any of these books, please tell me what you thought of them. If it was a book that I loved that you hated, tell me. If it was a book that I hated and you loved, tell me. Or if you have any recommendations, kind of seeing my horror vibes, please tell me, okay? Because there's a lot of books that I like. And if you know of other books that kind of fit that vibe that you also think I'd like, let me know, because I love an excuse to buy books, all right? But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, night, wherever you are. And I will see you with the next one. And enjoy your spooky season, all right? Spooky season is among us, and we all know it's the best time.